All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Cloud Ninja Podcast. Today we're joined with our regular, or I guess today we're joined with one of my co-hosts, Mello the Dreamer. Hopefully, Free Game could join us a little bit later. But of course, in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about Chapter 13 spoilers. It recently came out, I believe, yesterday. Spoilers began and came out or started to come out like a few days ago. I think 13th. But I guess we go over chapter ratings. What would you rate this chapter right here, Mello? Oh, Mel not even hit. Oh, I guess I'll read it first. I guess I'll read it first. All right. So, chapter 13. In my personal opinion, I'd have to give it.
My bad. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh,
I forgot I muted.
oh,
Yeah, we're getting off to an interesting start today.
yeah.
You want to go? You can go. How about you go?
Yeah. All right. So, I'm going to give this one a 9. I'm going to give this one a 9. With me, and this is probably like my 50th time saying this, plot is like a very big thing with my ratings, and like a lot of these chapters have been like extremely heavy when it comes to like plot stuff. So first things first, Kashin Koji's new ability. I think this right here not only is going to pretty much glean into some things that's probably, not only is that going to give us some predictions about the future, but now we could go back into the past, excuse me, and kind of decipher a little bit of his scenes. Specifically, he has 10 dimensions, and I'm pretty sure we're probably going to talk about this a little bit later, where he could pretty much see a bunch of futures. And he talked about some of his missions that he went on in the past, and of course that didn't necessarily affect his missions in the past, but he did kind of give some clarifications. Not only that, Boruto as well, he was pretty much saved. We pretty much got like a whole backstory in the flashback with Boruto and Kashin Koji. A couple questions we asked a few times was like, hey, did Kashin Koji train Boruto? Where did or even how did Boruto get this strong? I think we might have even got a answer. Kashin Koji talked about his training methods with Boruto. We're probably gonna talk about that a little bit later. But also, like, even with the Shinjus, like Kashin Koji spilled a bunch of stuff with the Shinjus. We realized again with his new abilities, we found out he could pretty much tell the future, and a lot of the intels that Boruto got about the Shinju, we now realize, hey, it comes from Kashin Koji. So plot wise, like this thing was absolutely astronomical. And I really just talked about the backstory stuff, but outside of that, it was absolutely huge. What was your thoughts about this chapter, though?
Yeah, I concur. I'm not sure what your rating was. Maybe I didn't hear it.
9, either 9 or 9.5.
9 point, bro. Listen, what is these 0.5s? Okay, be a man. Make a decision.
The only thing that's really missing is like a S tier fight that would make it like a 10. So like that's like the perfect chapter for me. All the backstory that we got here, plus like imagine if we got to see the actual finale of like Code, Boruto, and Sasuke. If that happened, all right, yeah, that's a 10. That's a 10.
But yeah, no, for me, man, the fight was the battle against the future or futures, multiple. So no, this was very fascinating, super interesting because I did a live stream about this on my streaming channel, MELLO Streams. Okay, make sure you subscribe to the new streaming channel if you want Boruto content moving forwards from your boy MELLO. And we were pretty much going over quite a few things, and I mentioned on that stream that this is like flipping the table for like a show, especially for a fan base that's so tethered to like what's canon versus what's not, and different continuities or things that are like lesser than like the manga, right? Manga is like supreme continuity, so on and so forth. And obviously this stuff is happening in the manga, of course, but what if videos are more relevant now than they ever have been? Like trying to ascertain like what's going on, in a different possible parallel universe. This chapter, I'm not going to bury the lead any further. This chapter was a solid, okay, an absolutely grumpy, okay, 10 out of 10. Okay, this was unexpected. This was absolutely fuego, some may say. Listen, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like I've been doing the whole parallel multiverse thing for a few years now. I've been doing the timey-wimey stuff for a few years now. And just to see it kind of like come to fruition is like fantastic. You asked me on the last podcast, you're like, Mello, you're rereading the chapter. What do you see? Like, what's your opinion about some things? Now, if you like caught up a little bit, and what did I say? Sumire was one of them, but I also mentioned Koji and how he knew about the soul bulb. I'm like, how does he know about a thing before it even exists? Time travel shenanigans must be in tow. It must happen at some point. And lo and behold, the very next chapter it occurs. So all of that's just fantastic. No major fights, but this is one of those chapters that I personally think just like flips the table and just turns everything that you thought you knew on its head. Similar to what I believe is chapter 78 from Boruto Part 1, when Momoshiki goes over, have you ever pondered the collective memories of mankind being altered? And we go over omnipotence. That's one of those like revolutionary, groundbreaking chapters that I just think, they're rare. They come every so often. I mentioned a lot of this on my past stream, but I'll just echo some of the same sentiments. When it comes to like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden chapters, they're very impactful given what's occurring at that time, right? Given the story being told. Whereas sometimes, like these rare chapters, 78 in a part 1, if that is the correct number, or chapter 13 in Two Blue Vortex, these chapters don't only just affect the current story, but it affects the entire franchise and the mythology, right? Of not only just Boruto, but the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden series. And is that kind of like ground shaking, like groundbreaking, earth shattering type of, information and context that just really makes this like undeniable for me personally, a 10 out of 10. You get to see Kashi and Koji, this ability kicks in, and we learn that he has Shibai Otsutsuki cells, and he can see into multiple different timelines. And we see a time like he speaks of a timeline when Naruto died and Ishiki succeeded in taking over Kawaki's body and the world dies, right? We see a timeline when Sarada and Boruto are defeated by Kawaki. We see a timeline when Kawaki gets packed by a claw grime. We see we're told rather of these timelines when Code of all people defeats a Kawaki. And
finally catching W's.
I know, bro, in a parallel world, my God, man. So like, it's like it's almost like I'm at a loss for words at how random and how like I don't even know what to call this chapter. It's just like canon breaking damn near. I kind of feel like it, even if it's not. I kind of feel like characters, things, situations. Like, are we? I said this before. Are we still following the same Boruto from part 1? Is this a different Boruto? Is this like a different Naruto or like I don't know. But I'm yapping.
One of the things I feel like could possibly fundamentally change the series, and I might just be yapping as well. We now have like future sight and like time travel. Like both things are now into the Boruto verse. So like in my personal opinion, like it's not an easy write for the mangakas out there, because there's like a whole lot of potential plot holes that can arise just from those two things. I feel like eventually they'll get it down, but I feel like this just opens the door for a lot of like weird writing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot.
So Kosh and Koji basically described this as like an ability that he got from Shibai. We pretty much understood that Amato had like the whole entire like scientific technology, or let's say scientific experiments on cyborgs and artificial human beings, and basically tried to give them some of Shibai's powers. He basically just said Amato implanted Shibai's cells into their bodies. So I'm not entirely sure how the process completely ran. Like, for example, did he implant like omnipotence cells into Ada? It kind of seemed like it was completely random. It was just like, hey, just take some cells and just throw it in there. Like, I don't even know if they gave Ada a Senringan. They might have just gave her like Shibai cells, and she just unlocked it. I have no idea at this particular point. But the question I did want to ask, like, do you think others, let's say quote unquote cyborgs and synthetic human beings, could unlock other Shibai like abilities? Because at this particular point, for a very long time we thought Koji didn't have any, and then he pretty much said after or right before he died, he pretty much unlocked it. So do you think the other ones could pretty much unlock one or unlock more?
Other ones being the cyborgs created by Amato.
Yeah, to be honest, the only one that I could really think right now that doesn't really have too crazy of an ability would be Code, even though he does have the claw marks. But like people like Code, Ada, Damon, of course, like Boro and the rest, pretty much dead right now, so they can't really get one. But like characters, I guess only those three characters, right? Because those are the three left. Yeah. Do you think they could unlock another one?
Um, I don't want to rule out the possibility, but it does seem that they just get the one, right? Like the claw marks for a Code, Sinrigan for Ada, and of course, the reflectability for Damon. So for Koji, yeah, the ability to see into the future, like the opposite of Ada. So the unofficial translation say, yeah, these are like very OP abilities that I wouldn't imagine an author would want to give them more than one of from the same guy. So I don't know, but like Shibai has all of these, right? So it's possible. I think it's in the realm of possibility that somebody may manifest some other powerful ability, right? Ada, she can use the Synergon, but like she can also use Omnipotence and fly. So all of that comes from Shibai, whereas like Damien can't fly seemingly yet, but he can use the reflect ability, and of course the same thing goes for Code with the one ability that he seems to have. So it's like it's like super interesting. It looks like the ocular abilities are perhaps the better techniques or the better things to inherit. I'm not sure if ocular abilities is what's responsible for Kashin Koji seeing into the future. I don't see any indication of that. But he outside of like the unofficial translation saying like it's like the opposite of Ada, so I'm kind of like making assumptions there. But yeah, possible, likely, I would say no. I would say no.
Right, yeah, true. You did kind of bring up the Kashin Koji, but I did kind of like clarify this. I do want to bring up it. We don't fully have like the actual official translations yet. These are just like fan translations or people or like professional translators translating Boruto. So like we don't fully know, but getting into some of the details, it seems like Kashin Koji can see all possibilities and not just 10, even though it's called 10 dimensions. But even still, like he doesn't necessarily like I feel like he doesn't necessarily know all the possibilities, even though he can see all the possibilities because he says he can change the possibilities. So technically, those aren't really the possibilities. So I mean, those aren't all the possibilities. There's still other I don't know. It's kind of confusing. It's kind of
Is
confusing. Mm.
is it certainly 10? Like was that like confirmed or with the
No, it
unofficial?
wasn't 10. The name, well, unconfirmed translations or unofficial the name was 10 or 10 dimensions, I believe, something like that.
Is that
I,
is that
I
like
got. Let me go look back. Let me go to the
yeah,
chat.
because times like this, a lot of the fans would just start doing research on like Wikipedia and start finding things and then start
Mm.
making claims about what this is. So like so when we say like, oh, it's called this, well, is it called that? Or is like, oh, and this translate, well, is that accurate? So like all that stuff, I think it's interesting to talk about like just for the hype of it all, but I wouldn't like make definitive positive claims about what this stuff is until the official chapter drops. Um,
Yeah,
in time of recording, that doesn't seem to be the case. So
yeah, true.
that's the only thing I'm a little cautious about. But yeah,
Yeah, and speaking of some things that I've kind of seen that was some mistranslations. I know in some translations it said that there were four Shinjus that oh not 400 Shinju you know what I'm talking about. It was 400 of them that could have possibly been made from the Ten Tails. But other people have came out or other translators came out and said it wasn't 400, it was multiple. But I'm not. One of the things that we did see for sure is that we've seen a possibility, or at least a future where my guy Shinki gets turned into one of these Shinjutsus or Shinju.
so just with that, because we're being cautious, is this certainly Shinki or is this what we believe to be Shinki? Because
What
it
we
looks like
believe to be
Shinki to
Shinki.
me. Okay,
Yeah,
bet.
what we believe to be Shinki at least.
Right, right. So like yeah, he certainly looks like Shinky to me as well. And if it is Shinky, like I mentioned in my stream the other night, I'm conflicted. I'm both excited because my boy's canon. Okay, besides his little flash, little montage of him being in the beginning, I suppose during the tuning exams. But
He's
I
canon to TBV. The TBV he's canon.
yeah, yeah. It's like, yo, like I'm happy you're back, bro, but like not like this, man. But at the same time, like beggars can't be choosers, I'm told. So I'm just like, yo, I'll take whatever I can get. The unfortunate thing is a lot of character development was done for Shinki in the anime in particular, right? So I'm not sure if that's going to like bleed over into the manga at this point. Not only is the anime definitively just by the nature of the medium that it is, right? Going from still images to moving ones, it necessitates that things happen in the manga that don't occur in the anime and vice versa. But also, just yeah, different continuity, different canon, and then you tack on like parallel worlds. Okay, well, the anime is a parallel canon. Okay, my fan theory. All right. Um, just the same thing with Mitsuki getting his like development in the manga that he kind of got in the anime, so it doesn't seem to cross over. The work that was done for Shinki, I suppose at the heart of it, the impact is lessened because if you're a manga reader, who is Shinki? Like, who is this dude? Like, you're gonna need to catch up on like a lot of stuff. So if you're a content creator, okay, your Shinki explained videos are gonna be crucial right now. But yeah, no, that's my only real issue and concern about it so far. But if this is Shinki, I mean, God help them all. Okay, you got a god tier combatant Shinju Ten Tails thing with a Rinnegan. I'm not sure what it does, but it is a Rinnegan, so I'm just gonna say it's a Rinnegan that can use one of the most powerful Kekkei Genkai in the verse, magnet release, and not only that, but like the most potent version of it, which is like iron manipulation or metal sand, iron sand. So yeah, I'm expecting absolutely devastating results from this. And people were asking me, well, he's a Shinju. Shinju seemed to have targets. Who would his target be? And I said, like, it's difficult because that character development isn't in the manga. So you can really have a blank slate with this version of seemingly Shinki. But in the anime, the person that influences him the most is Boruto. He changes his entire stance and perspective on being a shinobi and how he conducts himself. And then from there, you can maybe have him target Shikadai, possibly. They are related, not by blood, but, through their family ties. Shikadai, maybe, he's the heir apparent, and maybe Shinki has some kind of apprehension about that. So maybe that could kind of bleed over into the Shinju, unmistakably thinking he has like some kind of hatred towards Shikadai. Who can say? Young Lord versus Young Lord. And one more thing before I stop yapping, okay? Something interesting is that if it is Shinki, right, then, Code did attack other nations and other villages were incorporated in that. I would have loved to see that. That would have been great. We just got to flashback this chapter, so it's possible. So, what happened to Gaara? Was Shinki the Kazekage when he was attacked, paying homage to what happened to his father at the start of the Naruto time skip in Shippuden when he was attacked and captured? There's a lot of moving pieces working here, so I think that's pretty interesting. But like, what are your thoughts about it?
No, well, first things first, the combination between the iron sand and like claw marks that could be devastating. But you pretty much said most of it too. If I were to like give like a potential targets, first things first, I'd probably say Gaara, one of my favorite characters, but also the fact that he was once a Jinchuriki as well, and of course these Ten Tails figures are one of the Ten Tails, or they are 10 tails, put it like that. So I feel like Gaara could add some decent insight depending on what he could know. Maybe he's a little bit more versed in tailed beasts than just regular ninjas, so hopefully he could probably be helpful. But I'm not necessarily sure. Like the thing is, Shinki was more like a cold character, so like kind of seeing his connections, and especially for like a manga continuity, it would kind of be like, because he wouldn't necessarily like have that connection with a lot of people. I wouldn't say he's like similar to Gaara. Gaara was like a way more isolationist. He pretty much didn't talk to anybody except for his family. But Shinki is kind of like that, where he doesn't necessarily talk to too much people. So I'm guessing if he were to have a target, it would be either his family. You kind of said it as well. Boruto would be a decent one. I mean, if we're just going manga stuff, Rock Lee, not Rock Lee, Metal Lee could be an interesting one.
Who?
Imagine that.
Who?
Yeah,
Who's
right. Yeah, Metal Lee. I don't know if he's canon to the manga right now at this particular point, but
He's about as canon as a Jougan, bro. Okay.
yeah, basically. But yeah, if I were to put my hand on one, I'd say Gaara. I like Gaara to be involved. I like to see or at least hear some of the insight about Tail Beast and see at least how strong he got. Because if it's one character that consistently gets strong, it's Gar. It's Gar.
Yeah, but
Right.
you might not like this, but I said this in my stream. Shinki, as projected, should surpass Gar at this point. He should be beyond Gar
True,
at this point.
true, but it's possible that Gar also got some upgrades. I mean, this might be just a solo theory that I have, but I kind of do believe other villages at this particular point have scientific technology that could probably upgrade some of their strongest soldiers. So hypothetically, if Gar is altered, I don't know, man. He might pack up Shinki. He might pack up Shinki. We got some super chats though. Shout out my god, Lord Shadow Hokage the Third. He says, could it be that Shibai saw events about Shinju being created in the future and ascended to return in this timeline to deal with the Shinju? What you think, Mel?
Did Shibai see Shinju being created and return to this timeline to confront or stop them? Is that what was asked?
Yeah, pretty much.
Shibai, as described, is so far beyond any of this so far that I shudder to think that this would even this would probably be like the equivalent of you, like a normal human being, concerning yourselves with the happening of an ant that happens past your path as you walk towards the dumpster to take out your trash. Like it's the things with the Shinju right now are important to us, but to an entity as described like Shibai, what I would call like the closest thing, like if you were to describe a god, just out of context of like Boruto or Naruto or anime or fiction, if you were to like describe, hey, like what do you think a god is capable of? Shibai, the will to make anything real through omnipotence without any like side effects or drawbacks. Like 100%. Like that guy is not concerned about a Shinju, in my opinion. So I would say no. I would say no.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you as well. I do have like a caveat though. We do know that these Shinju, they kind of have Shibai's ability, so it could be a situation where like Shibai thinks like it's kind of like an unethical way of upgrading yourself, just basically poaching stuff off of his own body, where that could be like a personal thing to Shibai, where he thinks like, hey, maybe I do want to stop this or something like that. But overall, I kind of do agree where it's like Earth overall and these Shinju overall, I don't necessarily think it's like a big thing to Ishiki. Ishiki been to multiple different planets, devoured multiple different planets, and to be honest, at this
Wait, I'm
current
sorry, Ishiki or Shibai?
oh my bad, Shibai. I don't know
Okay.
why I got them confused. But yeah, Shibai had been to multiple different planets, devoured multiple different planets and solar systems. I don't even know to be honest with solar systems. But I feel like, and to be honest, currently there's probably somebody with a bunch of Shinjutsu or a bunch of divine art abilities and some other on some other planet, probably destroying or basically captivating that whole entire dimension. So I feel like if anything, we probably would have seen a lot more like appearances of Shibai if he were to have like a proclivity to actually come back and do things like this. But again, if there is like a way where I could see him actually having an interest in coming back, it would be because Amato actually did take his own cells and implanted it into synthetic human beings' bodies and cyborgs' bodies. So that'll probably be like the only way I could see it happening. But overall, I'd say nah, I doubt it.
Yeah.
All right, we got more.
Oh yeah, hit me up.
Apex in this like 3. He says, Kawaki seems to f everything up in, f everything up in every universe. He sent another one. He says Boruto in anime got the Jougan from manga Boruto. And then he says Boruto stay in prison until Shinju destroy village.
Oh, I forgot Boruto got arrested by the authorities, bro.
Oh yeah, he got
Like
bagged.
on Channel 5 news, Konoha News, Hero, okay, Konohamaru, catch the elusive criminal Boruto Uzumaki, okay? Oh no, just Boruto, okay? Yeah, like I told you, he's a hero of the league, bro. Like, on God.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I could also see where Apex coming from, where Kawaki seems like in almost every single instance, hey, Kawaki messes everything up. There is one where Kawaki kills Boruto, and then I don't know if he killed Sarda, but Koji said Sarda jumped in, and they both died. Most of them, Boruto dies, and then Kawaki dies afterwards. Kind of right, kind of right. I mean, I can't even go against that, even though I'm a Kawaki stan. I mean, The only thing I would say is that Kawaki is doing what's in his best interest. Even in this chapter right here, we were just talking about how Boruto got arrested. Kawaki is the one that kind of pushed for Boruto getting arrested, and it's not necessarily because he has some sort of vendetta or because he's like just a garbage character. It's in his, it's
Mhm.
well, technically character wise probably, but it's in his character to be like the actual big brother Jonin at this particular point, the goat Jonin in the Hidden Leaf Village. So if there's like a super threat like Boruto out there, Kawaki should be taking lead, in my personal opinion. So, like in a situation like this, like yeah, him asking him to put cuffs on Boruto might not be the best thing for the overall mission in regards to like fighting against a potential invasion with a bunch of the other Shinju, but it is the right thing in the context of the Hidden Leaf Village.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue, please.
No, I'll just say it's the character. It's the character that Kawaki has as of right now. So technically, the character is bad. Yeah.
So, like, what consistently seems to be the case across like all of space and time, the multiverse, right? Is that Kawaki's a bastard, okay, a rat bastard. Some may say Kawaki is a motherfucker. All right, like he messes up everything. Okay, like that little
Oh,
kid brother.
everything.
No, no, like that little kid brother, right? Like you build up your little Lego set when you were a kid, and your little stink ass little brother came up and just like toppled everything. Or you build a sandcastle on the beach on the local family vacation trip, and then yeah, here this motherfucking cannonball, like messing everything up. That's Kawaki. Okay, like yeah, it may play into like the dynamic of Konoha and what they desire, but like why do they desire this? Oh, it was because of Kawaki and like omnipotence and all this nonsense, right? Like it's this guy, bro. Like everything is always for him. Like he deludes himself into thinking it's about like Naruto or whatever the case may be, but it always comes back to him, right? Like doing that to Boruto is not like the prudent thing to do, given the context of the situation. Who is to say, right? That Jura wasn't going to like pull back up and just start like catching a fade, like multiple of them. Like who's to say Boruto's the only one that can get busy? Like
But
Kawaki can't do anything.
but if that happens, they just release the handcuffs. It just
Well, but it's redundant then. Why put the handcuffs on to begin with when that possibility is still like very much so possible? Like what if
for
they did come back?
information
What the hell would they do? Information for what, bro? Like
for
this
everything.
no, but here's but listen. He got information. Boruto was giving them information. It just wasn't the shit that he wanted to hear. But Boruto told him, like, yo, he's like, what is this thing? He's like, yo, this is the thing I think can save my master. Or this was what I was told. Right? He got something. It was more than his ass deserved. Look, your boy Kawaki, what's been confirmed by canon, okay? God, Emperor fucking Kashin Koji, apparently. All right, is that Kawaki be taking multiversal L's? Okay, this fucking dude is a menace to society. This dude, coach, you can see into the future,
I
and
mean,
he's
if
looking
he's losing the god tier
and
characters, I mean,
Kawaki.
okay,
Nah, bro. Now he got packed
okay.
by a grime in one of them timelines, bro. Stop the cap.
When
Stop the
was that? I
cap.
didn't see that. I
Stop the
didn't. I
cap.
didn't see that.
Stop the cap. They said it
You
said
call
when he got packed by a grime. That's
nah, call
grimy. Okay.
Kawaki not
Kishimoto
playing.
hates no Kishi hates this dude, bro. I'm telling you.
Well,
Listen,
at this point, I might agree with that. I might
listen,
because of the character that he has.
Koji can see into the future, multiple of them. Okay. And then he was like, yo, this is getting annoying. When Kawaki was making moves in chapter 13, he didn't even see this bullshit coming, this head assness coming. Or perhaps he did, and he just anticipated that it would come from Kawaki yet again. Either way, this dude's a fucking menace, and not in the cool way, not in like the edgy way, but like in like, man, fuck, like lock him up, right? Throw away the key. Okay. And also, I don't even know what the questions were, bro. I'm just like, bro, like
I ain't gonna.
they created cuffs that can like anti-meta cuffs is fucking insane. That's nasty fucking work. And Amato needs to be like targeted by somebody for that, because that's like some One Piece shit. That's like some sea cuffs that like neg devil fruits or some shit. Like what the fuck is this? But yeah.
I,
Fucking
I
packed
feel
by a
like this is.
grime.
I feel like this is like that Genjutsu episode. And to be honest, this might just be me putting two different Genjutsu episodes together. But the one where Naruto goes rogue and Sasuke has like the tuning outfit on in Hidden Leaf Village, like patrolling everything. I feel like Kawaki wasn't supposed to do this, bro. This was supposed to be Boruto's job. Kawaki was supposed to be outside the Hidden Leaf Village, getting all the training from Kashin Koji, all the future trainings that Kashin Koji get. That was supposed to be his thing. Even like talking about pre-time skip, how they talk about their philosophy of training. This is not Kawaki's philosophy. The philosophy Kawaki had was what Boruto had. Like that's his philosophy. Hey, all the abilities let me learn them. That's pretty much it. But like,
Wait, how you
te-
figure he should have been trained by Koji? I'm still trying to parse
no,
that.
I'm just saying he not necessarily he should have been trained by Koji. Just the overall storylines. I feel like Kawaki should have kind of been the one being rogue and being like that, like the emo guy. And Boruto should be in the village patrolling and being the S tier character in the village. Like that, it switched. Like it should be the other way. It should be opposite. But Kawaki specifically, I feel like if he did have something like what Boruto had, it'd be completely different. To where Boruto had all the abilities that he learned in the future, and he learned it right. I don't even know if he learned all of them because again, that wasn't necessarily told to us. But even that is kind of confusing. One of the questions that I had off of that, you think he learned the Jougan?
I, bro, it's not canon in the manga, bro. Maybe in a different
It's
parallel reality. Maybe in a
it's
different. Listen, bro. Maybe in a
it is
parallel world,
canon.
he act like in the anime. Okay, the anime's continuity, that parallel timeline. Yes, he's using the Jogan with the best of them. But now in the hell knows, hell no. In all honesty, though, possible. It's possible.
Mm,
It's absolutely possible. I'm more so interested in like what kind of shenanigans Momoshiki gets up to in the timelines. Because it might be
mm,
something like, yo, like every single timeline that Momoshiki takes over is like scary hours. So like at all costs, okay? Do not use karma, bro. Like don't do it,
could do
bro.
that.
Don't do it. So I like
It
because like
could do that.
when that stuff was getting out like kind of going out of whack, Koji's like, yo, bro, run. Like dip, run. Like get out of here. Go. So I don't know. I'm interested in like what Momo's up to in these multiple parallel worlds, okay? Because there has to be at least one of them, right, where he actually does some like demon time stuff, and
Yeah.
we get like God, Emperor, Devil, horned Boruto, like on a throne of skulls and shit. Okay, like that'd be sick.
Yeah, and to be honest, Kosh and Koji said he got this ability like right after he almost got packed up. So I'm assuming like he probably seen like after like what was it? After Sasuke probably fought against Boruto or Sasuke fought against Borishiki. I feel like at that point, like Kosh and Koji seen the future. So he probably did see a scenario where Momoshiki's premonition came to reality where Boruto did technically lose everything and then Momoshiki was able to like take back over.
Yeah, because like we were talking like I think Nick one of the subs Nick in the last stream shout out to Nick, he was like he reminded me like yo like Boruto had that karma glitch and he tapped into Momo's power to see into the future and he saw like from the perspective of like looking like from like you were on the ground looking upwards you see Kawaki with blood all over him but that never happened, bruh. Like
Mm.
this is something that like we've been talking about for like a few years now. It's like yo like where is that scene? Like that never happened. So like you talk about Koji getting Shibai's power to see into the future. Momoshiki has like a Byakugan that can see into the future. But what's kind of clear to me now, even like given the events that occurred with Omnipotence and seemingly like Naruto's death and like Sarada's Mangekyo awakening, right? Like, what did Momo say? Like, oh, it wasn't supposed to happen like this, or like this isn't supposed to happen, or something like that. And I always said, this is so funny because I was saying at the time, like, what if it's a parallel universe? Like, what if something like he can see like the future or whatever, but like something changed that shit, and then like now we're in like a branch timeline. I said that shit back then, which makes all this so like kind of surreal. But I'm really interested in Momo. Not only like what he could potentially do if he takes over in like different timelines or our timeline, which is potentially causing Koji and Boruto such concern about even using karma to begin with, but also potentially like what his abilities could be linked to, like his genetics or like his lineage, where he stems from, maybe a descendant of Shibai, maybe some kind of like ability of Shibai potentially. And it's just like this chapter opens up so many different possibilities now because those timelines exist, right? Like it's not guaranteed that we're on like the main timeline, right? We brought in like last stream like Dragon Ball Z, where like the main timeline was like Dragon Ball, all those events happen. Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, Frieza, and then Goku gets a heart virus and dies, and everyone gets
Trash.
slaughtered by the androids. That's the main timeline. Trunks did some timey-wimey stuff, and then now we're following into like Super and stuff, Dragon Ball Super, an alternate version of the main characters from Dragon Ball, right? So we might not be on the timeline, we might be on a branch timeline. So who's to say there are like the possibilities are like almost infinite, if not infinite. Who's to say there's not a Koji who's trying to do some evil stuff, the inverse of our Koji? There's probably, like I said, some God King Emperor Momoshiki actually conquers everything on a throne of skulls and blood everywhere. And that guy exists. And what if he wants to cross over into our world, into our universe? Like these possibilities, like it's not just, hey, we got threats from like our timeline. There could be threats from multiple different timelines that could all like converge, right? Like Cell in Dragon Ball Z is not like the one that they were fighting in the Cell games. That's not the Cell from their timeline. That's the Cell from a parallel timeline. So that stuff is like like kind of trippy to think about, but also like really possible, right? Boruto, you know, episode 1, chapter 1, right? You know, was there no other, like it seems like this was the only outcome. Kawaki. Like I even said it back like years ago. I was like, what if they're like, this was a wild theory, hopping through like different timelines, right? And like Konoha being destroyed wasn't like a result of something that happened in like the main timeline that we're following, but just something that happened in some adjacent timeline. A bit far fetched, but less so now. But like the foreshadowing, you know, I don't think they planned this far, even though people want to gas up everybody involved in the writing team around this time, right? Everyone's like kind of like high on their own supply right now. I don't think they planned this far, but if you want to give it to them, fair enough. Okay, like the foreshadowing, air quotes, in chapter 1, episode 1, the stuff with like Momoshiki, this wasn't supposed to happen. I'm so sure that Boruto would despair because he probably was supposed to, and then maybe Sarada wasn't even like meant to do what she was supposed to do, right? Like certain things change. Somebody stepped on a butterfly. Next thing you know, we got like fucking TBV. Okay, like all this stuff is like super fascinating. I even spoke about like, and sorry, I want to like, I know you have a lot to say too, so I'll let you speak.
I was going over I was going over some of the super chats my guy Apex sent in, but not you was cooking. You was cooking. I ain't gonna lie, but my guy did send these in probably like 10 minutes ago, so I do want to read these. Before we kind of get sidetracked again. But Apex says more convinced Boruto dies / sacrifices himself. He also says Boruto clan will not, or not Boruto clan. The Otsuki clan will not like the Shinju army. So again, these were probably like in conversations we had prior, but those were his comments. One of the so for my guy Apex, he did have another question that he did send in, which could be like a more complete super chat. He basically says, "Do you think Boruto will unlock the Jougan via Shibai cells or organically?" That was a decent question.
This man Shibai, bro. My God.
That's the Hashirama cell now.
What's that? Data Ex Machina? Is that the? It's like the thing that just, hey, I need this, I need something. Okay, well, it comes from here. Well, I need this. Well, it comes from here. Like damn, bro. Like God, bro got Jougan too, huh? God damn, bro got Jougan, claw mark, Senrigan, got your girl, got your mom, got your aunt. Like God damn.
We did see something that looked like a Jougan when we seen Shibai. Like for the first time, it was like a bunch of Jougans around him.
I don't know.
That could be that. You never know.
Wait. You talking about that illustration when like Ishiki was like explaining the Otsutsuki God to Code?
Yes.
But how you know that's Shibai, bro?
You never know. He's the Otsutsuki God. He's the Otsutsuki God.
I don't know. But
and then when Ishiki talked to Code about it, he basically says to go from planet to planet and devour a bunch of, well, pretty much the chakra fruits until you upgrade yourself and actually become a god. That's what Shibai did. So he was thinking about that guy and pretty much explained what he did.
I don't like Momo was like, I think maybe I have to go back and read the chapter, so grain of salt time, right? But Momo was like, it seemed like he was implying in chapter 78, I believe that's the chapter that, you know, in Otsutsuki who has ascended, right? Like almost like it's like multiple Otsutsuki gods. I don't know. I have to go back and check it out. So, that might be one of them that Ishiki was thinking of, or whoever was like, whatever, like from whoever's perspective that visual came from was thinking of. If it's from Code, then it's absolutely like not even relevant. But if it's from Ishiki, then like I'm not sure if it's still relevant, but like maybe more so than Code. But it might just be another Otsutsuki god. I don't know.
See, but to answer the question, I personally think he's probably gonna unlock it organically. I don't necessarily think he need like an external. Maybe not. I ain't gonna say that because maybe some Otsutsuki members probably gonna like bestow some sort of unlocking powers like Gohan had on Planet Namek or something like that. But like I do think like he wouldn't necessarily need like an actual surgery of Shibai cells or something like that to actually unlock it. I think he got all the actual abilities in his own body already. We've seen him use the Jougan before. It might not be perfect. It might be like an Omnipotence Ada relationship where she can use it but not perfectly. But I think he'll be able to unlock it or manifest it organically eventually. Yeah.
I would I would prefer if that was the case. Oh my bad. I would prefer if he just got it naturally. But if he did get it like by some other means, I don't know. I'm right now. I'm kind of leaning in the direction that through Momoshiki, I think Momoshiki is like a descendant of Shibai, and maybe Momoshiki because like his ability to see into the future is like very similar to, and it's confirmed to be like not just our future, but like a parallel future. I use confirmed loosely with air quotes because like again, Boruto tapped into his power by mistake and then saw a future that didn't happen in the canon material. Like we never saw that visual of Kawaki with like the blood on him. So that's probably him looking into a parallel world. I'm making an assumption here, sure, but it's induction. So maybe, but we can move on to the next one.
All right, facts. Shout out my guy, Lord Shadow Hokage the Third. He sent another super chat. He says, Boruto and Koji was in the land of wind. The other Shinju was looking for Boruto's ally, so they probably went to the sand and Shinki got turned into a tree. That's a very good possibility, to be honest. A very good possibility.
Were they in the land of wind?
Yeah, Orochimaru's hideout. Supposedly, like that's the one that they got to, and not only that, Kosh and Koji also pretty much genjutsu the entrance and exit, so they're pretty much completely sealed. So, but if that's the case, and they're like, hey, this guy is somewhere like in the Hidden Sand Village or somewhere in the land of wind, it would make sense to find Shinki there.
How would they even know this information?
In regards to like where Kosh and Koji is?
Well, like for like instance, like I don't know where Orochimaru's hideout is. Like he has so many. That's number one. And then like number two, like Boruto was teleported to like a different location than like the Stone Village or whatever. The wind would be like Sand Village, right? So, and I don't know. Like it's fine. It's a fine idea. I just like when I start thinking about it, I'm like, if the like if we're talking about like what the Shinju know, like how do they know that? You got to get there first, and then like also like confirm, yeah, they are indeed like this location is indeed in the land of like it's a lot of work that has to be done to get to that conclusion is all. But that's all I'm saying.
I think with the Shinki thing, I don't necessarily think like it's like a reality where it's like he already got turned into a pack. I think it's like a possibility where it's like this is one of the futures where he does get turned into a pack. So it could be a scenario where it's like the Shinjus realize, hey, Boruto does have like the ally, and I believe Jura talks about in this chapter as well. Somebody told Boruto about the keystone. Hypothetically, if they do find out, and we don't know how they do this, but if they were to find Kosh and Koji and realize, hey, he's somewhere in the wind, Shinki would kind of be like a potential like casualty.
Well, I think Shinki, if that is Shinki, that's Shinju, because like Mitsudi's like, oh, I wonder what he'll look like or it'll look like or whatever. It seems like they're making him now. So whatever happened, it seemed like it already happened. And then like maybe also like, okay, so fucking dealing with, since I'm like the resident like timey-wimey guy for years now. So time travel is like really, really, really interesting. You can go way left or you can stay right and just do it correctly if it's even capable of being done correctly. Like the writing here is going to be crucial because they could really create a lot of plot holes and mess things up. They did that with Dragon Ball and like the timeline with Trunks, right? Like the Trunks that showed up originally that defeated Mecha Frieza is not the same Trunks that came back that realized like Android 19 and 20 weren't the androids from his future. Like that's not the same Trunks. It's a completely different Trunks. There's a version of Trunks that got murdered by Cell. Like this, it's so convoluted. It's like a lot of YouTube videos about it. So the thing is, when Koji like looks into the future, like he's about to like, I don't know, get murked by Ishiki, and then like something triggers, right? Probably emotional stimulus, whatever. And he starts to seeing all these parallel futures, whatever the case may be. Like one of the futures he definitely did see at some point was this Shinki looking Shinju manifesting. And it seems like that's about to occur towards the cliffhanger of towards the end of chapter 13, TBV. So he's clearly seeing even beyond where we are, the reader, time of recording, which is crazy. Bro's like looking into like the preview for chapter 14. So if that is the case, then everything that he's done up until this point is assuring the future that he saw 3 years prior, which is really interesting because if these futures do exist, you would imagine that him making changes would be factored into the futures that he saw. Like to be so basically what I'm saying is even like you thinking that you're making changes, like you're making choices to change like the future that you saw are a part of the future itself that you saw, right? And that future only came about because of the changes that you made, thinking that you would make changes to the future you saw, right? So all of it's factored in.
Nah, Koji said futures can change. I don't think that's what I was saying. I don't know if he knows all the possibilities.
I don't think futures can necessarily. Like, it depends on how you want to view it. Like, well, first I would need like the official translations.
True, that's a
And
fact.
then from there it would be like, okay, like what do you mean? Like, hey, I can make choices that branches off of this timeline and veers over into another timeline that's like more, but like the future for the timeline we were just on, like pre-choice I made to veer us off, that can't be changed. All I can do is like veer us into like a different timeline that's more favorable to us. In that sense, the future can quote unquote be changed, but like all of it's because I would say like if you can see the future, then it exists. And if it exists, like it happened, right? Like if you start making changes, then it's not the future that you changed. It's like when Trunks went back in time, he didn't change his past. He only like created like a parallel branch universe that we're following to this day, right? When he went back to his future, these androids were there. His future was still ravaged, right? Like, yeah, he exists. Like he creates like a parallel. Like how could he go back in time and change his past and then like because then he would like never exist to do that to begin with, right? So this is what I mean by time travel shit gets real sketchy. You gotta be real careful with this shit. But yeah.
If the turtle pops back in, I might as well drop the whole entire. Not serious. I might drop animated altogether, bro. What is this?
No, the anime is, bro. If they do, oh my god, they have a golden opportunity because the quality for TBV is there. The quality is there. It could always be better, but the quality is there in terms of like the story, the writing, the intrigue, right? So the anime coming back, man, if they came out with some dope animation, yeah, like seasonal dope animation, like hey, like we're gonna take this project, the Boruto project, seriously, man. They have a chance to make a run here, man. It's not too late. It's not too late, I don't think.
Yeah, for a fact. But you kind of opened me up to a different possibility. How I kind of seen it originally, I kind of seen it as like Kosh and Koji understanding like these are the futures, and if we take steps to potentially change the future, then a different layer of futures could possibly arise. I thought that right there was kind of like the message he was giving Boruto, where it's like we're going to go on a mission to like change futures, type of thing.
Yeah, but I think like maybe think of it like and I'm not saying like my way is the definitive way, but you know I am a Doctor Who fan. Okay, I do follow like I am a huge fan of Back to the Future. Okay, I do a lot of timey-wimey shit. Okay, Dragon Ball, whatnot. In the media I've consumed since I was a whippersnapper. Okay, so with this stuff, right? Think of it like a highway. You're on a highway, and there's different lanes, and each lane is like a fixed, you know, timeline, right? The future, because if you see it, it happened, and if it happened, if you make a change to it, it's not going to change that future. It's just going to like any changes that you make were always meant to happen. You're not like veering off of destiny's course, right? It's factored into what was supposed to happen. I always say this, um, Boruto, before episode one of the Boruto anime, Boruto went back in time before he was born, before the Boruto anime ever even started, and then changed his future because of the Thunder Train stuff in the anime's continuity, right? So before he ever even existed, he went back in time and changed his future. Like it's the same thing. You gotta be like history took that into consideration. That was a thing that he was always meant to do. Like they were always meant to do that. Sasuke was always meant to like be saved in that timeline, to be saved by like Naruto and do all this stuff. So when it comes to like the analogy, it's a highway with different lanes with fixed times, right? And to change your future, you need to make choices. Now, I believe that those choices are already factored in to the grand scheme of like destiny, right? There's nothing that you can do to because you were always meant to make those choices. So by changing your future, you don't change the lane, you don't alter the lane, you merely switch lanes. And in so doing, the switching comes about from the choices you make. And in so switching those lanes, that's how your future gets changed. You go from one timeline to another. So it may be the case that the timeline that they're currently on now is a dead timeline. But Koji, through the choices that he makes, right, can veer them into a parallel timeline where the future is a little bit brighter, where they can avoid that worst possible future imaginable that Boruto spoke about early in the TBV series. So it's just one way to look at it. I'm not saying my way is the definitive way, but I think if you want to like make sense of time travel shit, it's best to keep it a little simple. And I think like a visualization like that can make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, that
No,
type of shit.
yeah, you explained it perfectly. I made what I was kind of thinking while you were explaining this. It might just be me, just my overfixation with the turtle. They could use the turtle to actually look into like the other different futures. Like maybe not necessarily try to like alter it, but just like go back and like try to veer. Well, I guess this is technically altering it, but veer it into a certain possibility, a kind of, I guess, just to see or even gather information hypothetically. But regardless,
Do you
you
need to
kind
do
of
that
claim
though? Could you have Koji?
it. It
Like
really, it
the
just
only
mm,
yeah, I was saying like the only way I think that would even be like necessary is if like there's like a limitation to Koji's future sight ability that the
mm,
turtle does not have, so it can fill those gaps. Because like Momo's future sight has like major limitations. Um,
well,
but yeah,
well, I wasn't necessarily thinking about it more of like a utility too much, more of like entertainment purposes. Maybe we go back in time
yeah,
to see
bet.
what if Itachi actually did fall in love. What if we go back in time to see if Naruto was actually still the Hokage
Yeah,
and the
listen,
Shibais and Ishiki never came? Like I
Boruto's not a
don't know.
Hyuga. Okay, he's a
Yeah, facts.
Haruno.
Facts. We can go back to the time to pretty much see Kawaki pack up Boruto and potentially Sarda. You never know. I mean, we could
Bro,
potentially use that term.
fuck out of here. You know, we can see him get packed up by grime. You know, yeah, I get it, I get it, I get it. No,
We got more super.
but there's a future where there's a Sarada Uchiha Hyuga, and I want to fucking see it. Okay, I want to see like the fucking combination of like the Byakugan Sharingan. Okay, like the white eyes with like the Tomoe. Like, oh, bro, fucking
Man,
sick.
at that point, they probably just have like some. I don't even know if it'll be like one of the strongest things because scientific technology at that point might be crazy. Like the Shibai stuff, like in my personal opinion, I feel like eventually we're probably gonna get to see characters with like multiple, maybe not these current characters where they're cyborgs, but even like villains in the future. I probably like in like 12 chapters or so. I think we're probably gonna get to see one with like multiple of these divine arts. And I think that'll probably be like the big thing. Now to be honest, the Boruto writers could just have like some broken dojutsu similar to like Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan. I believe that's probably going to be super strong, and just have that particular like Keke Genkai actually compete with some of these divine arts. Like if that's the case, and to be honest, it would be understandable because this is like a Hyuga Uchiha hybrid type of thing. It would be hyped up. But yeah, I do want to see it, to be honest. I
That's
hope they
what
do it, to be.
that's what I was saying. Like, it's just the possibilities now. Like, there could be a version of one of these characters that just like figures out a way to breach the timeline Like the parallel universe is just like maybe it's already happening. Like it's like when Koji's like, "Oh, I'll teach you everything I know." Like, what if Uzahiko was a
Crazy.
technique that would have never existed in our timeline, but he got it from a different parallel universe where they figured out how to use planetary chakra or whatever, and now he took that knowledge from that parallel world and then brought it over here and taught Boruto how to do that shit. Like, not to say that that's the case, 'cause I think Damon knew about it, so obviously, but like just the idea of that, like abilities that just we would have never discovered in this timeline for whatever reason is possible with an ability like this. Not to just see the future, but to see multiple different worlds is fucking gnarly, bro. And like, just think of for a second, like rewind, go back a few years back, right? Ishiki is about to finish off Kashin Koji. Koji uses his toad and teleports away. We're all wondering where the hell did he go? Mount Miyaboku, right? Maybe. Orochimaru, perhaps, right? Got all his limbs intact, it looks like, chapter 13. In your wildest dreams, will you have ever imagined that when Ishiki was yapping, okay, brimming with power, unlimited power, right? Yapping, okay? This man Koji was looking beyond the threat that he posed and looking at like these different multiple, like you would have never even like crossed your mind, like when he would have that blank ass stare on his face, you're like, oh, bro, about to get packed up. You would have never even thought about it. So, what is occurring now that you think is normal, that is actually some like grandiose, like God tier shit that's going to be revealed later, right? That's why I was playing with the idea, like when Mum was like, "Have you ever pondered the collective minds of humanity being altered?" I'm like, yo, the thing you think you know about like a character may not even be accurate information, bro. It may just like they can literally write like Shikamaru, his history in the show is not real. Everything you saw in Shippuden Naruto, that was a fabrication because of omnipotence or something of the sort, and it would actually make sense. It'll be like head ass and bold as fuck, but you can get away with it given like what they presented so far. Parallel worlds, altered memories. They're literally like uprooting the viewer's like perception of like what's real in the canon, the continuity, and saying, yeah, you think. So like I'll play around with the idea for like a few years now. Like Sumire, you think that shit that happened with Sumire occurred, right? In the novels and the adaptation in the anime and the academy shit with Nue and stuff. She could be an Otsutsuki undercover. You never fucking know. Like one of the people
It's
scratched out the
possible.
Ten Tails dimension. And she's making moves right now in her own like internal dialogue that we're not made privy to, that seems simple to her or simple to us. That's actually like some big grandiose chess move in the same vein, like when Koji's just like staring at Ishiki and he's like the main threat for us at the time. We're terrified. This boy's about to pull up on Konoha and pack up everybody. There was shit beyond him that we didn't even know about until years later. It's just fucking mind blowing, this chapter. This is why it's a 10 out of 10. It just spawns so many different like branches of thought that just is fucking fun as shit. But yeah.
Okay, it's crazy. I do want to give a shout out to my guy D-Man for his super chat. He commented, "Did you reach solo leveling Ragnarok yet? It's fire."
Um, I have not read Solo Leveling Ragnarok. I didn't even know about Ragnarok. I know somebody told me like there was like a spinoff or something like with some whippersnappers. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. But no, I have not. Recommendation is noted. I'm gonna pull up.
Yeah, probably same. You finished solo leveling, right? Manga.
Yeah, I think I have like one, maybe two more chapters and like the epilogue. But that's mostly because I never like to finish things definitively. But now that I know like there's a continuation, I'll just go ahead and like wrap those two up and move along. But yeah, I'm done. Yeah, the main story.
Facts. Facts. Yeah, I finished solo leveling though. That was the series I watched this week, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. I forgot actually. So you finished Solo Leveling. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay. What
dude,
do you think?
he got overpowered. We're probably gonna talk more about it probably at the end of this pod, but yeah, he got overpowered. Dude was pretty much destroying B rank fighters. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, so other super chats.
You ain't seen
Apex,
nothing yet, boy. But yeah.
bro, I could tell. It was just 12 episodes. But yeah, Apex, he commented. He says Shikamaru now has an excuse to halt hunting Boruto. That's true. That's true. I still think Kawaki's gonna be suspicious, but that's true.
Um, I'm interested. Like Himawari. So why didn't she just like ignore Kawaki and just heal Boruto? Like, why do you think?
She was listening to orders. I mean, he is like an elder,
Yeah.
technically.
But her like, remember what her goal was at the start of TBV? Like her goal would have put her directly in conflict with the shinobi world because she wanted to gain strength to help out her stepbrother Boruto through omnipotence, right? She's like they switch positions. So from her, like given her stated goals, she wants to gain power to like go against basically like the um effect of it of her goal is like she's gonna go against the shinobi world. So like here you are, you have the ability to help your like stepbro Boruto. Like you have power now. Like why not pursue this like line like this course? Like I don't know. I just feel like there's not even like any protest or like any internal dialogue just like ponder like strategy or like maybe now's not the time for this like something of the sort. I don't know. It just seemed interesting.
I That's a decent question. I went over and back. I went over the chapter again and looked. I think it's just because Kawaki quickly said, and again these not official translations, but he says, "Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to heal it." So, and he said that like directly after he says, "Wait, don't go near him." So it could be a situation where it's like Himawari understands that there is like certain procedures and she can actually heal Boruto, but in regards to like her potentially like going rogue with Boruto and then potentially leaving the Hidden Leaf Village. To be honest, I don't necessarily think she feels that strongly as of right now too much because people in the Hidden Leaf Village, it seems, they might actually work alongside Boruto, to be honest. It might be a situation where she could pretty much still be a proper shinobi, still be in the Hidden Leaf Village, and Boruto also be there as well. So I feel like at this particular point, she probably playing it, I guess, I don't know if you consider it smart, but safe, I should say. And
You know what?
Kawaki pretty much telling her you could heal him afterwards, pretty much directly. But that helped a lot, probably.
No, I think you raised an excellent point. I actually completely forgot about that line of dialogue. Yeah, it could have tempered her maybe like impulse to like directly help Boruto. Maybe she'll do it through another means. That's a fair point. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, true.
Do we have
We
any
did
more
have
supers? Yeah.
yeah, a couple more. All right, yeah, Shadow Hokage. Pretty much, he says, look at the headgear of the shinobi when Boruto was hiding, and in the official translations, unofficial translations, Koji said the hideout is in the land of wind they are in. So yeah, but the headgear. Do you think this would give it away in regards to like? Well, no, this was before they went to the hideout. But let me see what he says about the headgear. Look at the headgear when Boruto was hiding. I don't know. What would the headgear give away?
I don't even remember any of this. I don't know.
Yeah, Boruto was kind of like hiding when the flashback just started and Kash and Koji saved them with the frog. But to be honest, it did look like shinobis, but I just didn't necessarily know if we could decipher specifically what kind of shinobis they were. I was originally thinking probably Hidden Leaf Village shinobis.
I think they said they were in like the Stone Village, but like I'm very apprehensive about like I mean certain things you just gotta kind of like work with just to even have the conversation. But I'm very apprehensive about unofficial translations.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why
true.
I really don't hold like a definitive position until I read like the official translations in earnest.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we be holding 2 hour conversations about things that didn't happen. And I feel you. I feel
yeah,
you.
you just gotta be a little careful with that. Man.
Yeah, facts. So when it comes out, I'm pretty sure we'll probably know. But in my personal opinion, I think we're probably gonna get to see that hideout a lot more in the future. We're probably gonna get to see Kosh and Koji a lot more. One of the things that I've been talking about for I guess like the first 10 chapters was like we haven't seen Kosh and Koji pretty much at all after we've seen it at first. And now with this new I guess vision stuff, the future premonition, the 10 dimensions, 10 dimensions. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be in the storyline a lot more, and we're probably going to get to see Boruto in that hideout a lot more. So either way, it's going to be interesting. I do want to know if
Oh,
Orochimaru still has access to hideout too. But that's another. Yeah,
no, Orochimaru is a big deal. Like I'm very excited to see if he's like on pop up. If he does, it's a missed opportunity. But give me 1 second. I don't want to like abandon you, but like give me like Just like a few seconds. I gotta do something really quickly.
All right, true, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
I do want to read a couple super chats though, or at least I'll respond to a couple super chats when Mello comes back. I'll ask him to super chat or reread the super chats. My guy Bravo got bans. He says, "Let's not forget the themes presented in the arc, Fate and Destiny. This verse will definitely be deep fried and juicy for the next Otsuki God for a fact. For a fact. To be honest, I mean, this might be a complete hot take. Complete hot take. I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibilities that Boruto eventually becomes an Otsuki God." Just to like save or actually be like a overseer and be like an actual good person. One of the things that was kind of interesting to me, and this happened. This was like a theory that happened like way back, pre time skip, time slip arc stuff. Jiraiya had like the premonition from the Toad from Mount Miyaboku. I forgot his name, the Elder, but he said he'd eventually train like I forgot the Child of Prophecy. And we thought Jiraiya originally thought it would be Pain, and then we thought it'd be Naruto. Hypothetically, if Boruto actually does become like an Otsuki God, and Bravo brought up an extremely good point. Whoever the next Otsuki God, like that guy's gonna be OP. Like the stuff in this verse is crazy. So like hypothetically, if Boruto actually does become an Otsuki God, and again, that in itself would entail a bunch of things that Boruto just character-wise wouldn't necessarily do, like going around to different planets, absorbing different planets, and making god trees and stuff like that. Usually, we don't necessarily see Boruto like that. But hypothetically, if Boruto does do that, he'd be like a true child of prophecy. Like he'd be that guy. And eventually, like I ain't gonna necessarily say like this is going to happen, but I could definitely see Boruto at least playing around with the idea of actually becoming an Otsuki God. I do want to see what happens later. I want to get my Mello's opinions about this as well. But the last super chat I did have, Apex EP1 says, Kashin Koji and Boruto were shocked by Karma's return, though. That's true. That is true. I wonder if it's kind of like an Ada type of thing where it's like he has to like choose to look at it. If you guys recall Ada's abilities, she essentially has the abilities where she could see multiple different, or she could essentially, I call it like surveillance cameras. She explained that surveillance cameras, whereas essentially she has a surveillance camera in every single room in every spot, so she could essentially see everything that's going on. I kind of, and with Ada specifically, unless she actually tunes in and actually looks, she's not necessarily going to know. And of course, she could go back and look whenever she wants. It's kind of similar to Kashin Koji, but if Ada doesn't look, she doesn't know. It could be a certain scenario where Kashin Koji doesn't even think about, trying to look for Himawari because it's not necessarily something that he thinks is pertinent. But even still, like it's a future that Boruto does have. So that's still an interesting spot. I'm not entirely sure.
My bad, bro. I'm back.
So I basically ran through the last two donations. I got into one of my tinfoil hat theories on Bravo got bans, but I'll reread Bravo's. He says, let's not forget themes presented in this arc, Fate and Destiny. This verse will definitely be deep fried and juicy for the next Otsuki God.
Sorry, I was just thinking like maybe
real quick.
like yeah.
I was about to say real quick. My tinfoil hat theory was Boruto actually becoming an Otsuki God and actually being the child of prophecy that Jiraiya trained, but just a tinfoil hat theory. Yeah, this whoever the next Otsuki God is, yeah, he's gonna be elite. He's gonna be elite.
No, that would be absolutely fire. Okay, let me take a step back. I don't like prophecies or chosen ones. I mean, prophecies are fine. I don't like chosen one prophecies. They're just kind of cliche a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm like fanboying about this Gunpla. Gundam model. Sorry. My brain just went elsewhere. I don't want that for Naruto. It steals things from Naruto. It's like Star Wars, where like people, Luke was the chosen. No, Luke was never the fucking chosen. Okay, it's always Anakin Skywalker. Okay, Return of the Jedi is about Anakin. It's not about Luke bringing the Jedi back. It's the return. Like he brings them back from the dark side of the Force to become like a Jedi. So no, don't steal Naruto's like character, his thunder, his legacy. Like, don't do that. And I don't think Boruto needs that. But I do like the idea, like on the face, like like. But when I think about it, yeah, probably not so much. In terms of like whoever eats this next chakra fruit, if it comes about, wow, I suppose like Ishiki in one of those timelines, pretty badass. Um,
Yeah.
it's just so interesting because it's like, is it possible to like, hey, if you fail in this timeline, just go to another one? Because like I can definitely see a scenario where like Koji and
But
Boruto fail, and like we have
define
to like
fail. Define fail though.
the world ends, like Earth ends, the universe gets like I'm not sure like what the scale is beyond like planetary, like our planet Earth. Oh, that's
Mm.
such a cool feature. Sorry. But besides like Earth, but like I'm thinking if like Earth gets conquered, the world gets consumed or whatever, the Shinju win or whoever wins, and it's like, yo, we gotta like it's panic time. Like maybe Koji tells Boruto something like, hey, like this is the reason why. Like, bro, I'm not trying to like big up Flying Thunder God, okay? Saying it can like teleport you to different like worlds, okay? Um, but I'm just saying hypothetically, okay? Um, if you can teleport to the markers, who's to say you can't teleport to parallel world markers, okay? Um, and the world, our timeline world's about to end, and Boruto uses the technique that Koji helped him develop for a very specific reason, okay? Because he already knew, like Doctor Strange, he already knew. And Boruto has to like flying right into like a different universe or yeah, some shit like that. I think that could be pretty interesting. I don't know, just kind of like, but it also it's like the Dragon Balls and Dragon Ball Z. It's like, well, if he can just fucking do that, then like, what are like the stakes are kind of mid. Like you can just like run to a different parallel world where like everything's like Gucci. I don't know.
Mm.
There's
True.
this TV show I'm watching right now with my mom called well, we already finished season one. But it's called like Dark Matter. It's a newer show, not the one from like
Sound
Sci-Fi
familiar.
Channel. Yeah,
I've
there's
never
one on
watched.
Sci-Fi that was like really dope. I liked it, but
Yeah.
now this is a different one. It's like this cube, and inside it plays off the idea of like Schrodinger's cat to where like quantum superposition, like the cat's in the box, but you don't know whether it's dead or alive until you look inside to confirm it. So until then it's in a state of superposition. It's like, blah blah blah. But
Type shit.
it's a really interesting concept because inside the box are like it's like this corridor with all these like this hallway or corridor with all these like different doors on like the left and the right, and you open up a door, it takes you to like a parallel world, but your emotions dictate what the world is going to be. um so like I'm very much so like in the realm of this mindset already with like the parallel world shit. So I think it's be an interesting concept if they can do it. I just think it'll cheapen the series if they can just run to a different world if shit hits the fan in this one. But I don't know, just some thoughts.
Kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that. I mean, Dragon Ball is kind of criticized for there not necessarily being that many stakes or the lack thereof. Yeah, the lack of stakes. I think eventually, maybe if like hypothetically like something like that does happen, there could be like a scenario where that just doesn't become possible again. And similar to like even like I guess Dragon Ball kind of does create the scenarios, and then they pretty much retcon it by saying, "Hey, there's bigger Dragon Balls." But I think Boruto could kind of like
Yeah.
eventually, if a scenario like that happens, there could be a scenario where they're pinned down to saying, "Hey, this is the only world. You have to save this world," and then after that, you can go to different worlds. I think that'll be straight. But and we got other super chats as well. Apex is the last super chat. He says, "Would you guys prefer Naruto slash Hinata remember Boruto?" I'm guessing this from Omnipotence.
What do you think? Oh, did you already
I
answer this? Mm.
Nah, then I feel like I'm like the last person on this hill. I hope Omnipotence gets reversed. And again, you never know. It could be a different thing. Reverse, quote unquote. I'm saying that hopefully there's another Omnipotence where they switch. I don't know how to word it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Kawaki becomes Boruto again, and Boruto becomes Kawaki again. They do Omnipotence again. I feel like I'm the only person still hoping for that outcome. So I actually do hope Naruto and Hinata remember Boruto eventually.
Um, well, regardless of like what happens, you'll always know that there's a universe where they do. Okay. So, um,
Facts.
but yeah, no,
Please go
I
back.
think probably they will remember. I would imagine if they're like in a timeless void, maybe. I don't know how I have to give it some thought, but I would just say like just keep it real simple, just like really like below average IQ type shit. They were in a different place, and the mechanics of that place seems to be like different from any other like space time that we've seen, where like time doesn't flow. So that's like really really unique. I'm not sure how time factors into. See, now I'm not doing like the low IQ shit. Yes, I think they will remember. Probably. Probably. That
Okay.
it hurts me to
Okay.
just do that low IQ analysis, but yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Maybe.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
you kind of reminded me. Apex did have a super chat that I'll respond to already. Yeah, so he said Kashin Koji and Boruto were shocked by Karma's return, though. I'm guessing this is from Kashin Koji having the ability to see into the futures, but him not really seeing Himawari.
Um, I'll have to go back and look at the chapter to see if that's true. I know, like, shocked is a very strong emotion, or reaction rather.
Mm.
So I don't know if they were shocked, but maybe he's like implying something a little bit different. What chapter was that? Was that chapter 10?
I'll go back and see. I'm not entirely sure.
I would like to go see these expressions that they make. Oftentimes we kind of like misremember things, or maybe a little hyperbolic. Um,
Mm.
maybe it was chapter
What I kind of said
11.
during this, what I kind of said during this, I kind of said it's possible that Kashin Koji probably had the future, but didn't necessarily look into it. It could be similar to Ada's ability, where unless she actually does not the word physically, but intentionally looks at a specific spot and intentionally looks at one of her surveillance cameras, quote unquote, she won't necessarily get that information. So it could be like Kashin Koji didn't care to look for Himawari's, or if Karma was alive or something like that. I don't know.
That seems like a big detail not to know about, to be frank. But
True, but
this
how
would
does
have to be
how
before chapter 10, I think. Maybe chapter 9, if it is anything.
true? I'm guessing the overall Himawari at this particular point in regards to like overall like Shinju stuff. I don't necessarily think she's been like crazy huge, even though of course she was a target. For Kashin Koji though, like with Boruto in his mind, I'm not, and of course most of the scenarios having Boruto and Kawaki dying, I'm not entirely sure if he like pay attention to that detail.
Yeah, maybe. I uh, well, so there's probably like a limitation to the ability, just off rip. That would make sense. I'm just it's very difficult for me to like say things definitively without the official translations, because like in the unofficial translation that I read, it was like it's like the pretty much the inverse of Ada's ability, like the opposite or whatever. Now maybe it's not the opposite in terms of like mechanics of how it functions. Maybe it's just the opposite, and like she looks in one direction, I look in the other. It could just be that simple. I kind of think that's the case, or actually could be you know mechanics or abilities. Either way, I wouldn't know because the official release isn't out. So it's like really difficult for me to say. If you want to take like, hey, like it's the inverse mechanically, then like uh, then I guess like yeah, it would work like hers just in the reverse. So there, yeah, he wouldn't know everything. He would just have to like kind of selectively, but like just how it's like demonstrated visually, it just looks like a tapestry of like different timelines just like emerge like in front of him. And this is like him not even being able to control it, I would imagine. It just kind of spontaneously occurs. So um I just find it very difficult to like because it seemed like just based upon the visual, the what was shown on those like little reels that appeared before him were like critical key moments of importance, um, or at the very least the ones that like he kind of remembered through his like visual illustration of what happened. So um, Karama coming back seems to me to be a very critical moment in history that you wouldn't just like overlook or not see. So that's why like I would really love to go back and look at that chapter. Unfortunately, Manga Plus is head ass and they want you to like subscribe or pay. So they like start like making it so that you won't have access to shit over a certain period of time. So no, I don't know what it looks like, but
It'd
um
be like that,
yeah.
unfortunately.
I'm so sorry, bro.
Um,
Like my eyes are like burning like crazy. I'll be right back. I don't mean to keep like
it's
abandoning
cool.
you. Hopefully free game shows up at some point, but give me
All right.
like
Well,
2 minutes, bro.
All right, got you. One of the things I was kind of thinking about for the viewers out there, shout out Mel's channel as well. Yeah, one of the things I was kind of thinking about was the possibility of like, oh, 1 second. Oh yeah, all right, back. All right, so one of the things I was kind of thinking about was the possibility of these quote unquote synthetic human beings, also the artificial cyborgs, them potentially getting new abilities when they're quote unquote near death. Kashin Koji specifically said like he was thinking about dying, or he was basically waiting to die. And again, unofficial transcripts, so we don't fully know. But he was essentially waiting to die, and then he got this new awakening. It kind of brought me back to Madara, and of course, if you guys don't, when Madara almost died, and I kind of, as a Gaara fan, I kind of take pride in this. Gaara and Naruto drove my guy Madara to a near-death experience, and then he awakened the Rinnegan. I'm guessing it could be a similar situation like that happened with Kashin Koji. And again, we don't fully know. One of the things I kind of thought about was, hey, Boro himself had a kind of near-death experience, and he never really like unlocked a brand new ability. I guess you could kind of say him being like a huge human being is like kind of a brand new ability. But I did kind of want to keep an eye on that at least, because we do have some of those synthetic human beings. They might be challenged in the future. We don't fully know when Ada's actually going to fight. Code is still on the storyline. Let's be honest, he might not be involved anytime soon. But characters like that, if they are in like a near-death experience and they don't fully die and they're just laying there, they're just still. Because again, Kashin Koji, he reverse summoned and he got to a completely different location. Even though he was still near death, he was near death for a very long time. I'm assuming something like that could possibly be similar with like Ada when she does fight against Bug, and potentially even Damon if he does, eventually defend Ada against a character like Bug. So I feel like stuff like that could get interesting. It could get interesting. Now, I kind of agree with Mello. Some at this particular point, maybe them having two divine arts might be overpowered, but it could happen eventually. Maybe we get to see villains eventually come to the series where again they have multiple divine arts, and then it makes sense for some of the, let's say, cyborgs and quote unquote good artificial human beings, we could actually get to see them create brand new, or at least get brand new divine arts. Mel, I kind of seen your mic light up. You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, what did you think about that? Or did you hear the overall thought?
I kind of got like, I kind of agree with Mello, and then that's about as much as I heard.
Oh, damn. I was thinking maybe some of these cyborgs could potentially unlock a new divine art with near-death experience. Kashin Koji, he was like extremely close to death, and then he like teleported away, and then he stayed at that state, I guess, where he's like a near-death experience, and then he eventually unlocked the divine art. It kind of brought me back to Madara, when Madara essentially fought against Gaara and Naruto, and then he had his own near-death experience, and then he unlocked his Rinnegan. I kind of thought maybe that could be like a function similar to some of these divine arts in this Shibai cell type of thing.
Do you think that was involuntary for Madara, or he did that on purpose?
As a Gaara fan, I have to say it was involuntary. What are we talking about here?
Like, didn't he? I feel like he just did it on purpose, like, as a flex, like, because I think he had it before death. Like I'm almost like 100%. It's been a while, but
yeah, but he needed another near-death experience to actually like awaken it again, because he was awakened via the forgot what it was, but Kabuto did some other stuff. And he was awakened with the Mangekyo, or EMSs, I should say.
Okay, that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, awakening new abilities, given like some kind of external stimulus, triggering some emotional this or that, and so, yeah, maybe I would imagine. Who do you think that would be though? Like Code, Damon, Ada,
Any of them, pretty
Kawaki?
much. I talk about the possibility of like Ada when she eventually, when Bug eventually pulls up.
You know what I want?
Demir, he might pull up.
You think, bro? Ada gonna be fighting in the field? You think she can get a new combat ability?
You never know, bro. You never know, bro. I hope so.
In that boy with that leg sweep. Okay, I rock with it. Like a mean leg sweep. That's nasty, bro. That's nasty work. Listen, okay. Baby girl, all day, every day. Team Delta. Okay. Akibi Sanzu. Like, give me some of that good stuff, okay? Like I want Delta to cook. All right. I was kind of worried when like Boruto got sniped. Like Kawaki was like, "Yo, Delta, like what's going on over there?" I thought he clapped Delta's cheeks or something, like off screen. I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like, no, she was alright though. So, if these random side, like, bro, if he gave Koji some kind of like Shibai cells, like, surely he gave his daughter something, bro. Like, I'm just expecting Delta to pull out the fucking, I don't know, like the fucking clothesline from hell or some shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I hit him with a German suplex from like fucking Shibai. Like, I don't know what she's gonna pull out, but I'm expecting some like shenanigans. Amato is a menace, okay? That dude, he needs to be investigated and then studied in that order. Okay. Like investigate him, probably throw in a lock him up in the middle and then study that motherfucker for like scientific purposes. Like, how does he create such entities, bro? Like, my God, bro. Like where is Shibai's corpse? Okay. Where's this husk? And like, what can we do with this? And how can we like employ this into like other characters and shit? I don't know. It's I want Sarda to get some Shibai seals, bro. Okay, there is a multiverse where it happens. Okay, I'm sure of it. One of those branch timelines or some type shit. But yeah, we'll have to see though. But I think hmm. See, I don't want to blend like the anime's continuity with like the manga's continuity, but I kind of think that maybe when you take a look at like the Jougan Eye in the anime, it's like the Star of Hope, right? Like I think it's episode 8 where Boruto has that dream of like Toneri Otsutsuki. And he's like, he tells you what he hopes the Jougan can do for him, right? Like speaking of Toneri, where the hell is that guy in the actual manga? Like, my God, like they're given everything we have revealed so far, there are still like higher heights that we can ascend to. Okay, like fucking Orochimaru and Toneri just sitting there waiting to like tell you to hold their fucking whatever. Like, yeah, like you think you're good, yeah, hold my, I don't know, snake. Okay, shout out to the snake holding people. Okay, I guess that's the thing. I want to talk about anime episode 8. Okay, bro's like, my hope is that the Jougan will be the light that will guide you. No, my hope is that the Jougan will guide you to the light, which will expel the darkness. Okay, maybe Koji's the light, bro. I don't know. I always thought it was like Himawari, like Big Hima is actually like the savior. Okay, shout out to Gohan. Gohan packs up Cell. That's what I always thought. Maybe still, but I don't know. The Jougan didn't really lead him to Koji, to be fair, but I don't know. I'm trying to factor in the Jougan in a way because they're clearly doing a god awful job with it. To be frank, at least in the manga's continuity. In the anime, they're slow as hell, but at least they've done some work. So I'm more optimistic about like once we get around this time in the anime, we can start to like cook with fire. But the manga, that's interesting. Maybe there's something with that. We'll have to wait and see. Perhaps, I don't know, Boruto, perhaps he can learn from himself in some parallel timeline, some future version. Like these possibilities are now like open to us. So I do think this is like kind of interesting to kind of explore these concepts, but I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see with that one, where it kind of goes. But as far as the manga is concerned, I think we covered the Shinju, the new one, the one that looks like Shinki. Okay, excited for the bold possibilities. That level of power is going to be like insane. Like you said, Bar, the claw marks combined with magnet release in the iron sand is absolutely fuego, bro. Like that's insane. Okay, like God help us all, whoever he targets and fights. Okay, absolutely gnarly. And then also the possibilities that other characters can manifest from these soul bulbs as well, right? That seems to be like the true essence of these Shinju entities, right? The bodies that you see are just kind of like constructs. The true bodies, right, are, these soul bulbs. So, and they seem to be able to sprout these things out pretty readily. So I'm very curious to see who else shows up, right? And I think this could be a very interesting way to incorporate side characters a little bit into the series. So that could be pretty impactful in terms of like what new Shinju that we can potentially see. Look, I want to see a Maito guy Shinju with a leg missing, okay? Like just for no fucking reason, bro. Just like Maito guy, leg missing. Just like why? Okay, just make us suffer. Okay, what is life if not suffering? Okay, perhaps. Listen, Kishimoto once upon a time in Mexico said that Kakashi would play a pivotal role. Okay, I've yet to see this pivotal role. Now he's been cooking in the anime, and perhaps that's what he spoke of. I'm not sure when this was said. I don't remember the details of what was said, but I do remember a little bit. And perhaps that's what we're going to get. Gagashi, Shinju, potentially showing up, showing out, and doing some stuff. It'll be very interesting if it could retain the Sharingan, perhaps some kind of like six paths powers, right? Embedded within like the genetics, right? The memory of the chakra, perhaps. I don't know. But just really interesting to see like what else manifests beyond this point. And then also, how far into the future can Koji see? You know, as far as I know, like going through like the leaked panels, if the Shinki Shinju does come about, then he probably only sees around like 3 years into the future. So we'll have to see. Potentially, he has seen more. We just haven't been made privy to it. I think that's probably the case, but we'll have to kind of wait and see with that. But the whole like who can be next thing is like really interesting. And then we also like spoke about like Momoshiki as well. You know, why are they so adamant about Boruto not using karma? What did Momoshiki do in some parallel world that Koji potentially saw, right? Whenever Koji, or rather, whenever Momo takes over Boruto's body, like everything goes to hell in a handbasket, potentially, right? So we have to absolutely make sure that like Momo does not manifest, maybe. And potentially Sarda could be some kind of key to all of that, right? To where like if you want to think that Sarda made some kind of like radical change in the timeline via her Mangekyo Sharingan ability, right? Then that could potentially be like major for Boruto's like power progression. So maybe she can like change Boruto's fate to where he can actually use Momo's power, and like all the timelines, every time he uses it, like it just goes dark. But maybe with Sarda as his like son or like his guiding light, then maybe he can actually tap into that kind of power, and then that can get him over some kind of hump or heel or hurdle that he needs to like contend with some like, I don't know, Shinju fused entity, potentially. We'll have to wait and see. But that's also interesting thinking about Sarda's Mangekyo ability and if she can like potentially do something with that. So we'll have to see with that. And then also like Sumire, Nue, the Gozu Tenno Seal, Kaguya's technique, okay? How Kaguya factors in, how Sumire factors into Boruto's Jougan progression. We've mentioned this many, many times. That right there, hella interesting, right? Prominently featured character, need to take into consideration like what's good with her. So that's something interesting as well. Sorry, just texting. That's something interesting as well. And I also want to know more about like, because it's kind of crazy, right? Like right now, Kurama, I said this in like my last stream. Kurama seems so insignificant compared to a guy who can see like the multiverse, bro. Or at least like multiple realities. And like we're trying to fight this dark future, the worst possible future imaginable. And then we got like Kurama kind of getting his shine like dimmed a bit, right? It's like, yo, a few chapters ago, Sarda and Himo were getting busy. They were cooking, okay? And now it just seems like, I don't know, less than. I'm not sure if it's the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z effect to where, hey, listen, if Hima dies, you know, maybe we could potentially perhaps get another version of Hima, right? It'll be sad. We'll cry, shed a tear like Ric Flair, single tear in our eye, but you know, we'll get over it. That type of energy, right? I'm not sure how I feel about the multiverse thing yet, or like the multiple timeline thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It could lessen, it could cheapen things depending on how they want to write this new concept. So we'll have to kind of like explore those ideas as well. But there's a lot going on in this chapter, and I definitely think that right now it's a great time to be a Boruto fan, right? We talk about like the story itself, but we don't really take a look at like us as fans from our perspective and like how how good this is for like the fandom, I think, to be frank, right? Because like if you're a Boruto content creator, it's like fantastic. You have like, my God, like damn near an infinite, I'm being hyperbolic, but you have quite a bit to talk about, right? You could quite frankly make things up, what if scenarios, and it would be 100% valid. It wouldn't be like an ass pull or whatever, right? Um, or at least more so valid than it has been in the past because of like the different parallel universes or whatever the case may be. So I think just a little bit of like an appreciation from like a fandom perspective is like warranted to take into consideration as well. But solid 10 out of 10 chapter, I think. At some point we should get free game in here. We can get his rating. I think he said he'd been here like 20 minutes ago. Um 20 minutes in 20 minutes, like 40 minutes ago. So I don't know. We'll have to maybe ask him next week. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, But while we wait for Bar and Free Game to get back, I'm going to answer some questions that I see in my chat because I can. Okay. Um, so let me see this. Zion, he's been asking like a lot of questions. So my bad, bro. I'm podcasting, so I can't really answer too much of them. But he says, not going to lie, I'm still scared for Boruto. Like, is Hinata Naruto affected? Question mark. I think we already went over like the Naruto Hinata thing. It's just kind of like a wait and see thing. But in terms of like Boruto to be like afraid of his fate, I mentioned this in the last stream. I'm not sure if you were here or not, but it's interesting, right? Because when you take a look at like Koji, right, I liken him to like he's either like the king, like chess, right? He's the king. That's the piece that he like encompasses. I know some people had a contention with that. You can provide your own an analogy if you wish, whatever tickles your fancy. Okay, but he's either like the king on the board or he's the player moving the pieces. I kind of prefer him to be the player moving the pieces, right? So Boruto is a piece on the board, but Boruto's not a player. He's not the player, right? And it's interesting. You would have maybe never guessed that, right? With Koji not being the main character and all, but Koji's stock has elevated. Okay, he's like exponentially more important now than he's ever been before. Obviously, right? I would even argue he's more important than Boruto Uzumaki right now as a target for the Shinju. Like they must get to him because that guy is going to like foil any of their plans. And when you talk about like timey-wimey stuff, right? Like even them, even like I think Koji's going to die. And I think he knows he's going to die. And I think potentially he'll be willing to sacrifice Boruto Uzumaki as well. I think Zion's concerns are warranted in this sense, right? Koji is a shinobi. Shinobi are tools to reach a certain conclusion. He apologized for doing what he was doing in part one, like almost killing Konohamaru in Team 7, right? But he also was like, yo, I'm a ninja, right? But Boruto understood this, right? I too am a shinobi, embodying the ideal of a Kashin Koji, the ideal that a shinobi is a tool to be used to reach a certain conclusion, right? Kindred souls. So Koji, perhaps without even explaining it to Boruto or telling him, right, specifically how they're going to reach a positive conclusion, Koji could be like, well, I don't need to tell him that because when he said that he was a shinobi too and he understood what I was doing, right, means to an end type shit, we're kindred souls. So if I need to sacrifice Boruto to reach this positive outcome, right, so be it. And I think he'll understand and respect that choice, even if I don't get his consent and even if I don't tell him, right? I liken this kind of scenario to Infinity War, right, in the MCU and in game. In this instance, perhaps Boruto is Iron Man, Tony Stank, okay? And well, I'm sure you can guess who Mr. Kashin Koji is, right? Throw your ones up. Shout out to my boy Roman Reigns, okay? Throw your ones up. One possibility, okay? Doctor Strange, of course. So, yes, Koji is the type of character, is within his established characterization to be the kind of guy that wants to reach certain conclusions, positive ones, I would imagine, right? I would argue for. However, in so doing, he is willing to sacrifice not only others, but himself as well, right? And I kind of think Boruto is a very similar character in this regard. Think about all the many times he was willing to sacrifice himself to make sure that Ishiki wouldn't succeed or someone else wouldn't succeed or whatever the case may be, right? Anime continuity kind of arcs and stuff like that, right? So Boruto is very much so a character in that vein. So yeah, I think your concerns, Zion, for Boruto's safety is 100% warranted. And although like Koji may be working towards like a goal that could be beneficial to everyone in a positive way for our main cast of characters, I mean, I can imagine the sacrifices that he'll need to allow to happen would be pretty heart wrenching, to be frank. But you know, just think about everything that's occurred so far that he's seen. Just like when he like vanished from the story in part 1, right? Everything that happened, omnipotence. Like Boruto was like, yo, you knew, like, yeah, like he knew, right? And you can imagine if he's changing the future, if he believes the future can be changed through choice. And if I'm accurate in like my like assessment of like, hey, we're on a highway and there's multiple lanes, and the timeline that you're on is just one of the lanes. And in order to change the future, you don't change the lane, you just veer over into a new lane through choice, right? If that's accurate, even somewhat, then Koji, through action or inaction, allowed omnipotence to occur, allowed Naruto to be captured, allowed all these things to occur. And these are devastating things to a certain degree from a certain point of view. Shout out to my boy Obi-Wan Kenobi, okay? From a certain point of view, these are all negative, devastating things. Boruto's scar, so on and so forth, although it looks cool, okay? I would argue it adds to the drip, okay? But he allowed these things to happen through action or inaction, right? So the idea that in order to reach this, like, or avoid the worst possible future imaginable Boruto spoke about early TBV, that everything's going to like be good in so reaching that conclusion, it's not likely, bro. I don't think so. I don't think so. So we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about that. Let me see. Mello, you said a Koji. Oh, you back, bro? What's up?
Yeah.
I was going to answer this question. You said Koji seeing the future lessens Kurama, but Momoshiki could see the future, but it never lessened Kurama ever. Sure, there are differences between Koji and Momo's future sight. Yeah, so you just take into consideration the context in which all this occurred, right? So given like, so I'm not sure the exact instance you're talking about Momo looking into the future, so I'm going to make an assumption. It's probably during the fight when he looks into the future and maybe says it's unfortunate you can't pass your like your power off to your offspring or something of the sort. But even if it's not that instance, which by the way, just as an aside, seems to not be accurate. Shout out to Himawari. Multiple timelines, okay? We exist in a timeline where it could happen, you bastard. But away from all of that, right? No matter like when you talk about, because he didn't do this often, he didn't do this like a lot. The context is like fundamentally different. Like when Koji does like when all this is revealed about his abilities, Kurama died, had a send off, came back with a vengeance, had like a whole ass moment that was like major in the fandom and for the story, right? And admittedly, right, my opinion, my subjective point of view, yeah, it made the character seem like his return seemed like a little bit less than like in the grand scheme of what was revealed in chapter 13. Himawari and Kurama to me are on the back burner. Like I'm not even like even Sarda. Like I'm like, yo, Sarda was getting busy. Like what kind of ability? I'm not even thinking about that shit no more. I'm like, whoa, like what the fuck just like exploded in front of us, right? Like the fucking cosmic Big Bang or some shit, right? Like the fucking universe getting created. We're bearing witness to it. Like what the fuck, right? Everything else seems like inconsequential. So, maybe you have a different opinion, but I think you would take the context into consideration when all that stuff happened. so on and so forth. But yeah. Are you like back bar? Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, but I'm hot, bro. I'm hot, bro. I'm hot,
Um,
bro.
I respect you having a high self esteem about your looks. Okay, listen, hot boy summer. I rock with it. I mean, you think you're hot,
This is
you're a
facts,
bad
bro.
bitch. I rock with it, bro. Like,
Bro, I go downstairs to open a door out of the
oh shit.
grace of my heart. I get locked out
Wait,
and I
what?
come back to an argument. What do I opened the door for you? I opened the door for you. And
I'm
like
confused.
never mind, never mind.
No, no, no,
I
I'm
just
like
got hot, bro.
I'm
I'm hot, bro.
nosy. I'm a little
I'm
nosy.
hot, bro.
Okay, so you lock you go open the door for someone. I assume.
On some
And
BS. I don't even want to talk about it now. I'm probably just gonna
okay,
get
to be
more hot, bro. Hot, bro.
yeah,
Shout out
that's
y'all.
life.
Chapter was a 9 in my personal opinion. Thought it was fire. Do we have any super chats? I'll respond to some after that.
Um,
Dunzo.
I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't know what to say, bro. Like, yo, I hope everything works out for you.
No, everything is well.
Some
It's
old
like
bullshit.
yeah, it's like, bro, it's just them situations just get you mad, bro. Like what is I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Like the nerve of
Like
it.
oh yeah, exactly, like the nerve. Like I don't
Yeah,
know,
no,
bro.
I know those situations well. Yeah. Okay, I don't think we have any more super chats. If you want to wrap up, that's perfectly fine. We've been going on for like almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm calling
Yeah,
free game. I don't know how to end it though. That's the only thing.
you just gotta, I guess, reach out to him and hopefully he shows up in time. I guess.
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
I'm
did you have like
calling now.
any like closing thoughts or like maybe like ideas for what happens next chapter before we wrap?
Yeah, I think Sasuke came back. We didn't get it confirmed, but he looks like Hidari. I
Wait,
think
what?
that's him. Yeah, there's like some branches that sprouted from I forgot the thorn bulb, and a new Shinju came out. I'm assuming it's Sasuke.
His consciousness is in Hidari's body.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think Sasuke is gonna show up and be playing undercover agent?
No. I think I missed. No, Hidari comes back. Hidari, not Sasuke. Hidari comes
Oh,
back.
okay. I was like,
My bad.
okay, that's
I
an
used
interesting
yeah, I used
twist.
them. I use them interchangeably. My bad. Yeah, but yeah, I think he comes back and if I'd give like a solid prediction, Boruto wakes up and tells everybody the secrets, and Boruto escapes, even though they probably don't want him to leave. I think he does escape. All
Okay,
right, well, that's pretty much it. All
bet,
right, y'all.
bet, bet. All right, guys. We appreciate you guys chilling with the Cloud Ninja podcast. Free Game is missing in action. Okay, hopefully you guys can put a warrant out for him. Okay, like where is this brother? Help! We need to find him. Okay. Bar. Hope you have a. I don't even know what this. Bro, Bar about to pack somebody or put him on a shirt or something, bro. I'm gonna let Bar go because he heated. If you guys want to continue the conversation, head over to MELLO Streams. That's my new streaming channel. We can definitely continue the conversation over here. I will continue streaming for a little bit. And yeah, the podcast may still be up because Free Game is somewhere, but the podcast is now over. So don't just linger in the podcasting because you won't get any content probably. Okay. Bar, have a good one. Free Game. God bless you. Okay. You guys be easy, okay? All right. I'm gonna disconnect now.